Good morning. I think we're on. We're out in the yard today. It's a beautiful day. Welcome, Unity Church of Delaware folks, for your regular Sunday service. Welcome to our friends and family wherever you are. Thank you for tuning in this morning. We've got a beautiful day, and Buddy and Bella are happy to be out in the yard with us today. They've come to know it's Sunday, and they're ready at the door to come out and enjoy their treats in the yard. Gentle. They really are enjoying these virtual services, and have, because it used to be we would go to the building and they would stay home. So they're really happy now. So thank you for tuning in. I think everything is, people are finding us, Joe, and we're underway. Yep. All right. Well, we have a special guest today. We're really pleased to have a longtime musical friend with us today, a talented musician. I think he might be going to do some original songs for you today, but he'll give you those titles. We're really pleased to have Ralph Leeseberg with us this morning as our musical guest, and Cheryl's with him. Yay, welcome. He's going to do an opening song.
Right now?
Right now.
Right now. It's called Better Than Most. On a day like tomorrow, with the plans that I've made, I could beg, steal, or borrow and watch my happiness fade. But if I ride my freedom and I try not to boast, I'll end up with a lifestyle that's better than most. But if I'm only wishing things will change for the best, I've a nagging suspicion I'll be put to the test. 'Cause the things that I'm plotting can disappear like a ghost, and they'll soon be forgotten like yesterday's toast. So I look to the mirror to see what is there, and it could not be clearer. I got something to share. Will I keep it inside me or give it away? Will I let my heart guide me to brighten up someone's day? If I show others kindness by keeping it real, it will cure me of blindness to how others feel. I am not on an island. There are people nearby, and I can't remain silent when I'm hearing them cry. I can live the lessons others have told me. All I need to do is let them enfold me. But if I wait for tomorrow and don't act on today, I could end up in sorrow like crumbling clay. But if I ride my freedom and I try not to coast, I'll end up with a lifestyle that's better than most. I'll end up with a lifetime that's better than most.
Thank you. Yeah. All right. Thanks. Thank you, Ralph. Good song. Good song. Thank you all for joining us. I'm going to ask Joe to come over. We're going to prepare for an opening prayer together. And I invite you to send in those prayer requests anytime. You can do it now in the comments section so that everyone can see them, or send them in anytime confidentially. Just use that prayer request tab at the top of the unitydelawareohio.org site. That's how we stay connected as a community in prayer. And supporting one another through this time. We're thinking particularly, we were talking just a minute ago about all the returning to school, all the kids returning to school right now, and the teachers, and all the difficult decisions schools are making really around the country about the best way to do that, to keep everyone safe and well. So let's hold all of that in prayer, divine guidance and protection, and strength and good health for all, and wise decision making. So prayers for all of in our community here in this late summertime, for health and wellness, for peace, for loving kindness among us all. So we're going to go into prayer with a very familiar Lisa Ferraro chant. Very, very easy. Open wide my heart. It's a good way of preparing yourself for prayer. Just inviting God, fill me. I'm open. I am wide open. Join in wherever you are. Sing along with us. Open wide my heart. Open wide my heart. You guys can sing too. Open wide my heart. Open wide my heart. Once again. Open wide my heart. Open wide my heart. Open wide my heart. Open wide my heart. Let's just close our eyes for a moment. Feel that openness in our hearts, in our minds. We are wide open to the life of God flowing through us, to the guiding wisdom that is rising up in our minds to direct our choices, our decisions, our every step. That renewing strength of body, mind, spirit, we are open to that. It is flowing through us, each one, ceaselessly. We do not have to act. We do not have to make it happen. God's life flows through us, moment by moment. God's peace steadies us. God's life renews us, cell by cell. We affirm that highest of all truths for each one in our community this morning, and for living beings everywhere. We are one with the living God. We are being guided and directed moment by moment. We are being kept well. We are steadied and strengthened by the power and presence of God in us. And we are grateful. And so it is. Amen. Well, we'll have another song, and I think this too is an original, isn't it, Ralph?
Yes, it is.
And you can kind of tell us about that.
Rather quickly, I was reading a series of books about lighthouses, and I got to thinking about a lighthouse as a metaphor for spiritual enlightenment, if you want to call it that. So I came up with this. This is back in January when I was down in Fort Myers. There have been dark times in my life. There were times I could hardly see. There were times when it seemed like the whole wide world shut off its light for me. There were times that I felt so bad. Despair had taken its toll, like I was shut up in a windowless room in the dark night of the soul. That's when I saw the beacon of light. I saw the beacon of hope. I felt the tower of strength giving me the power to cope, lighting up my path, showing me the proof. It was there all the time, the lighthouse of truth. Now when the sun seems to disappear, dark clouds fill the skies, I know hope is always near. I just have to open my eyes. It stands taller than the trees, and its light is shining true over the raging seas, with the promise for me and you. On and on it'll about how I got here. I sometimes wonder about the changes in me, from a person who lived in fear to a person who is living free. And if I just keep moving ahead, living life day by day, accepting my daily bread, with the truth to light my way, that's when I'll see the beacon of light, see the beacon of hope. I feel the power of strength, giving me the power to cope, lighting up my path, giving me the proof it was there all the time, the lighthouse of truth. Yes, it was there all the time, the lighthouse of truth.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Nice.
Thank you.
Nice. Thank you, Ralph.
Tracy said Colin was jamming to one of his favorite guitar men.
Excellent. Excellent. Well, I've been stumbling upon this word lately. It might be a new word for you. It's not a common one. Liminality. And I'm just very fond of that word. It kind of describes the time we're living through right now so well. Liminality, definition is that it's a state of transition between one stage and the next, especially major stages in one's life. It's an in-between period, typically marked by uncertainty. Does that sound familiar? A little uncertainty. Liminality, it comes from the Latin limen, which means threshold. So it's sort of a crossing of a threshold into a new place. And it's in between. And there's a lot of uncertainty. It seems like a perfect description for where we are right now and what we're all moving through. The Irish poet and philosopher John O'Donohue, he kind of described this feeling of this time. He says, "You are in this time of the interim, where everything seems withheld. The way forward is concealed from you." That's a perfect sort of a description of this liminal space that we're all moving through. Living through a pandemic like this is certainly that kind of, it's dwelling in an interim. It's an in-between place, and we don't have a sense of when we'll come out of it, or where, or how things will be then. We have a sense they'll be different, will be different in some way, but it's all rather uncertain. And that feels very, to use a word that I've been hearing way too much lately, unprecedented. It feels very unprecedented, but it also seems to me this is very much a part of life. Throughout our lives, we go in and out of liminal spaces. Liminality is part of life. And so it seems to me it's something that it really would be good for us to learn how to become more comfortable with and learn some strategies for moving through those liminal times and spaces. Because this threshold crossing, it isn't necessarily a fast process. It takes a while sometimes, and the timing is not really ours to determine. So what are some strategies for moving through liminal space, for dealing with liminality and the uncertainty that comes with it? Here's my 3 big ones I came up with. As you think about it, you might come up with some different ones or some additional ones, but the first one is, remember, God does the work. That's the biggest one for me. It's like, I'm not the infinite source, God is. And the solutions and the creative ideas are going to come from source through us, but we're not the divine mind, calling all the shots here. I've always liked, and Dr. Michelle Harkey has shared this a number of times when she's done presentations for our community on Byron Katie's work. I've always loved Byron Katie has this very clear distinction. If you're working with issues or problems in your life, make a clear distinction between your business, someone else's business, and God's business. Because very, very often we're trying to get into God's business. Usually with frustration and not doing very well with it, but we're trying to call shots we can't. And that gets in the way of our openness to divine guidance. When I think of how problems have been solved in my life, And that was very often because of something that kind of came out of left field. Not something I brilliantly thought up and made happen in my life. No, it was like suddenly an invitation came, or an idea popped, or somebody said something to me that resonated, or a job appeared, or whatever it might be. Very often it's something I couldn't have anticipated. I bet that's true in your life too, if you think back on divine guidance that came for you at the right time, and it was the right guidance, and it's not something you could have figured out in advance. God does the work and flows through us and guides us. Jesus put it real clearly, the Father within does the work. The Father within does his works. So that behooves us to make sure we've got a spiritual practice of some kind. Stay in touch with God so that you're going to be in touch with that guidance as it comes. Let God lead through you. So God does the work. Second one is, remember you are involved in the process. We are none of us passive observers or victims. We are, our responsibility is to stay in touch with God and stay open to, in mind and heart. That's how guidance is going to reach us, if we maintain that communion. And as we move through these liminal times, a lot of it is going to, how we come out on the other side, a lot of it is going to depend on the kind of growth we went through in the process, the inner life we had, the inner work we did. I think we see that again and again. I know a number of individuals nowadays who are cancer survivors. Cancer is being managed sometimes over a long period of time now, and it's wonderful, when people get this account of, your cancer is no longer active. But then they're still going back in every 3 months for scans and tests and things like that. It's kind of like that liminal space. It seems like, when am I going to get across this threshold? It's a more gradual process. That's the way liminality is a part of our lives these days. But so many of the people I've known who have gone through a health situation like that, they've come out on the other side of it so much deeper, so much more compassionate of other people's challenges, so much more sensitive. So much more aware of their own impermanence and vulnerability, and it's made them kind of more gentle, more kind, more open to awareness of other people's challenges. Just a deepening of spirit that happened. I think maybe that's a part of moving through these liminal times. We need to be in touch with that inner life and the inner growth going on. That's going to have a lot to do with where we come out on the other side of this thing. So that's two. We're involved. God does the work, but we're involved in the process. Another thing, as far as our own involvement, is we need to watch our own intake of things that undermine our strength and our guidance, things that shut us down mentally or emotionally. I've always loved this little teaching, this little Sufi teaching they call the 3 gates. And I thought of it when I was thinking about crossing thresholds, going through gates kind of. The Sufi teaching, I know some of you know it very well. It's basically 3 questions you ask. Any idea that's circulating in your mind, or thought that's reaching you, or something you're reading online, something like that, you ask yourself, is it true? Is it useful? And is it kind? And if the answer is no to any of those, you don't let it through the gate into your consciousness. You don't take it in. We've got to protect our growing inner selves and keep them inviolable, keep them from being ravaged by negative input from outside us. And boy, that Sufi teaching of the 3 gates, it's certainly relevant in this era of social media, isn't it? So if you just take in unmonitored everything coming at us via all the sources of media now, it's too much, and much of it is not true, not useful, and not kind. Would you agree? I think we really have to be cognizant of that now and watch our gates. That's how we take care of ourselves in this process. So God does the work. We're involved in the process by watching our gates and keeping our hearts and minds open. And the third one is be here now. Be in the present, right now, right here. Years ago I saw a church sign I loved. pastor had put out on a sign out in front of the church building, God is now here or nowhere. And I thought, that's punchy. I like that a lot. It's true. The present, right here, right now, is always where growth is happening, where change is happening, where guidance is coming, where wisdom is rising, where creative ideas are coming to the surface. So we need to be right here, right now. There's a lot of scriptural teachings about don't look back. Don't look back or you'll turn to a pillar of salt like poor Lot's wife. I always felt sorry for her as a child in my little children's Bible. She just looked back at her town behind her and turned to a pillar of salt. It's just a teaching story about how if you look back too long, you could be looking back at how things were before the pandemic. It could be looking at how things were before in another relationship or in a job you lost, or looking back in any way. If you look back too long, your life dries up. You've got to be here now, plugged into God right here. To me, that also means be here now, plugged into nature, because we're a part of nature, and if we stay in touch with that and feel our connection with nature, we'll be nourished by that, we'll be taught by that, instructed by that, we'll be uplifted in spirit by that. Last week I was watching some wrens busy in the front yard here, diving in and out of the bushes, and I kept studying and watching, and I peered into a taxus bush over here, and sure enough there was a little baby wren in there that parents were darting in to feed. They're all beak, you know, when they first come out of there. They're going to grow into that beak the way dogs grow into those big feet. It's a kind of a similar thing. What a precious, uplifting sight. You know, new life is springing out all around us all the time if we're alert to it, if we're paying attention. That's the activity of God in and around us. That's God doing the work. And we can be uplifted by it if we're here now and paying attention. And it could be new depths rising up in you that you're discovering right now. God could be bringing you new ideas about who you're becoming, about who you really are and how you're really meant to live. That could be coming to you too, as you're open, as you let God flow through you, as you're here now, plugged into life. So let's just take that into prayer for a moment as we conclude these few ideas together, and affirm that high truth that we know we are one with God, and God is always working through us, flowing through us. God is always doing its creative work in and around us. So we maintain our sense of deep connection to God in us and all around us. We are deeply connected to that flow of guidance, of wisdom, that guides us moment by moment. Each day we invite God to guide us step by step. We affirm we have no will apart from God's will for us, for our lives, because we know that will is always the highest and the best. We keep our hearts and minds open, ready to receive that guidance, refusing anything that shuts us down to each other or to the life of God in us that is all about love and peace. And we stay present right here in the moment of our lives, alert to the grace of God to uplift us and to lead us forward. Thank you, God, for your unfailing presence with each one of us, now and always. Amen. Well, we are going to have just a couple announcements and then one more song from Ralph, I think just in just a moment. I think all Ralph's songs today are originals, so if you want to know more about them, contact Ralph. Ask him where you can get those songs if they're out there somewhere. Send in those prayer requests anytime. That's how we're staying connected, so send them in. And if you want to be a part of our online prayer circle, send in your email address. And if you want your prayer sent out to that group, just let us know. It's a way we can kind of continue to pray for one another and with one another during this time. Many thank yous. Always, every week, I want to say thank you so much to all of you who are tuning in. We appreciate so much your support, the comments that we see. It's definitely a way we touch base with each other every week, and it's so good to see your names, see your comments there. So thank you for joining us. Thank you for the donations that have been coming in by check to the church, P.O. Box, or by PayPal. That means so much to the church to keep us going during these virtual service times, and to keep our church building going too, so that it'll be there for us when it's time for us to return safely. thank yous. Thank you to Ralph and to Cheryl for joining us, coming up today.
Thanks for having me.
Our pleasure. And Joe for his incredible technical expertise and musical expertise. And yay.
Thank you.
Buddy and Bella. So we're so grateful. And we're going to have one more song, and then we'll do the prayer for protection together. And Ralph, maybe you can kind of tell just what the song is.
Oh, well, send in those donations.
It's about prosperity.
It's about
right?
prosperity. Give and you shall receive. It's pretty much a spiritual law. You can't do anything about it.
Yeah, invite people to sing along too. It's an easy one.
Prosperity. All you want, then you can have it for free. Try it and you'll see. Inside we're all prosperity. Simplicity. It's as easy as 1, 2, 3, yeah, yeah. Try it and you'll see. You too can live abundantly. There's no lack or limitation. All you need is inspiration. With a little meditation, it comes easily. You don't need much information. Just try a simple affirmation and come and join the celebration. You'll live happily ever after in prosperity. All you want, and you can have it for free. Try it and you'll see. Inside we're all prosperity. Simplicity. It's as easy as ABC. Yeah, yeah, try it and you'll see. You too can live abundantly. And when you see the implications of the simple operation, you will accept no imitation automatically. So if you like this exaltation, doesn't take much explanation or a lot of qualification to live happily ever after in prosperity. All you want, then you can have it for free. Try it and you'll see. Inside we're all prosperity. Simplicity. It's as easy as 1, 2, 3, yeah, yeah. Try it and you'll see. Inside we're all prosperity, and you too can live abundantly in your prosperity. Cha cha cha.
Love it.
Thank you.
Love it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ralph. Thank you, Cheryl. And thank all of you for joining us this morning. We will stay in touch during the week. We will keep each other in prayer. And we will be back again next Sunday right here. So let's just join together in our prayer for protection. Let's all do that together. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is. And all is well. So it is. Have a wonderful week. Thank you for joining us. Bye.